Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and gentle them. It's your girl Trin. Welcome back to Tidbits with Trin, and welcome to my room. So, if we're having a real transparent moment, I just had the biggest adult tantrum, pity party, whatever you want to call it. Life goes on. That's the most important thing. I am healthy. I am protected. I am blessed. And there's nothing more to it. I definitely had a low moment. I had some unexpected hurdles that I needed to jump over, but I realized that this was just another gift from the universe, from God, from everything to speak my truth and be real with my viewers. Um, there's just something I wanted to share with anyone who absorbs my content. It's when I was at my worst, the phrase I heard the most was, it gets easier. It gets better. And at my low point, at rock bottom, I obsessed over this idea. I stressed over this idea that it would get better. And people always say it gets better with good intentions. I'm not saying it's not healthy to say. I'm not saying it's not a healthy attitude. But sometimes when you hit rock bottom, it can feel as though people lied to you. Or maybe they sugar-coated it or rose-colored lenses. But you start to get this feeling where you're kind of lost. Like, why would the people that love me lie and say life gets easier when it only seems to get harder? Sometimes it is something. When it's not something, it's another. It can be frustrating. It is probably one of the most natural feelings you can relate to being a human being, which is just finding times where you are frustrated. And then I had an epiphany, or just a thought that came over me. Now, in my personal healing journey, I have found God, if I'm being honest. I have found a lot more comfort in my spirituality, and more so coming from my acceptance of others and the love I have for the world at this point in my life at 24. And I do feel so grateful at this point in my life. And I find a lot of the times that these ideas, even my video concepts, come to me in prayer, in meditation, in yoga, through my self-care. It really comes to me to speak because I realize life doesn't get easier at all. And that sounds morbid. That sounds dark. It can sound kind of defeatist. But life doesn't get easier, but you get stronger. You get better, you get wiser. And in conversations with my peers, in talking with my friends, in talking with my mom and the people that love me, I realize that part of adulthood is struggle, okay? You know, in being a young adult, it's hard. It's elusive at times. Sometimes, right when you feel like you know what you're doing, life sort of reminds you how unpredictable it can be. And there's so much to figure out, and you're just only getting your footing. And then right when you think you have your footing, something else happens. A pebble shifts, and you have to readjust your grip. And that is a natural part of life, but it can feel so painful to fail at this point in your life because your life is only just beginning. You haven't seen all the possibilities. So it can feel so devastating when something just doesn't go your way. But if you want to be successful, you have to live successful. If you want to change, you have to be the catalyst for the change. And that is what a lot of people can't accept. To a certain extent, I am not a professional. I'm not a psychiatrist. This is my personal experience. In my depression, I have found that there is a certain victim complex that comes with the condition. That is just the truth of my experience. There is this feeling to lay down and die. If you've seen the show Big Mouth, in like the first or second season, one of the characters She experiences depression and they personify it in this sleepy cat that is so warm and just envelops you. And while depression is scary, while it takes lives, while it is something that people battle constantly, it is something that can be comfortable. It can be a safety blanket. I've talked about this before. And this is just me being real. It can be, I see it a lot on TikTok. They refer to it as girl rotting, or like you spend your whole day in bed and you feel guilty the entire time because you just want to get stuff done, but you don't have the motivation to do it. And I've realized that depression is something that everyone will experience in a certain capacity. Okay? I'm not saying that chronic depression is something that everyone experiences. I'm not saying that everyone experiences it the same way. But to a certain extent, when you experience grief, when you experience trauma, when you experience defeat, failure, you experience some level of deep sadness or depression. And sometimes it can be hard to climb out of that. Okay? Sometimes when you're depressed, the littlest thing can make you feel like rock bottom just turned to the bottom of the ocean. It just turned into something you just can't recover from. And the only way I've been able to process my depression is what I'm doing right now. I had a moment, I had some news I really didn't want to hear. But life goes on. If I sat in those moments and festered every single time it happened, I would get nothing done. Recently in my life, I've been blessed with an internship. I have a job. I have a roof over my head. I have clothing on my back. I have a puppy that I love. I have so many things to be grateful for. I have my spiritual journey. I have my journaling. I have my writing. I have this ability to record this show. Those are my motivations to get up in the morning. Doing what I'm doing now and talking about it is what saved my life. Okay? If adulthood is hard for you right now, if being 20 something is hard for you right now, if being black is something that's hard for you right now, if you are experiencing grief, talk it out. Talk to somebody, I beg you, because holding it in only makes it worse. I cannot emphasize that enough. Okay? Revisiting my point, circling back. Depression is something that everyone will experience in some capacity, but it's how you react. Flat out. That's what makes all of the difference. When I hit rock bottom, thank God I have a village around me. I have friends around me. I have cousins around me. I have realized recently that I am loved. Okay? And I think everyone is loved. When I worked at Quick Check, there were people that couldn't believe that I remembered them, that I could pinpoint their order, know what cigarettes they were going to buy, know what candy they were going to buy. But I promise you, no matter how alone you feel, there's somebody that will miss your presence. There's somebody at the library, there's somebody at the college office, there's somebody at your job that thinks of you on a regular basis, even if you don't think so. I have realized that a lot recently, and the amount of people that have reached out and just said small things, said they missed me, said that they're apologizing for not reaching out. That's love, okay? And we all are made of love and stardust, okay? That's my mixture. That's the recipe I like to say. That's the recipe I claim. You can disagree, but I think everyone is made of love and stardust, all right? But when I hit rock bottom, my people rallied around me. They pulled me out of that position. They pulled me out of that situation. And really, when I was at rock bottom, I was, to be honest, hand over the heart, I was drinking on weekdays. I was smoking excessively. I was really just experiencing vices and leaning hard on my vices and leaning hard on an escape. And I think a lot of people in their early 20s experience this substance abuse, something where they just feel like it makes it better. There's a Band-Aid over it and I'll feel better. The problem with vices is you keep digging the hole. Suddenly, the thing you were doing just a little bit isn't enough. So you drink 2 White Claws at night. You have 2 shots. You go out 2 times a week. And then all of a sudden you look up and you don't feel any better. You don't feel progressed. You don't feel like anything has changed. But you're deeper into this vice. You're drinking every night. You're going out every night. You're partying all the time because that's what makes you feel better. But then when it comes back to it, when you want it to change, you haven't changed anything and you've dug a deeper hole for yourself. And that can be so devastating. That can be such a horrible feeling because you want to have your own back, but sometimes you can be your own worst enemy. You know, I realized that every day, all over the world, people struggle. Struggle is not a new concept. Struggle is not something that anybody has never experienced, no matter the social class, no matter the amount of money, no matter where you live. Everyone has experienced a struggle in some way, shape, or form. Struggling to screw the hose on, struggling to find a charger that fits your phone. You've experienced struggle, and struggle's not new. People from the beginning of time have experienced struggle, and you have to realize that with each struggle, you become more resilient. You learn. You learn when to ask for help. You learn when you're drowning. You learn when... You just learn with each struggle, okay? And I realized that things feel like the end of the world in your 20s because it's the first time you're experiencing everything. And I think that's why we lose so many young people to depression, unfortunately, because it really does feel like the end of the world sometimes. Your feelings can be so big that they feel all encompassing. And you can feel consumed by the feeling. But really within these prayers, within this epiphany, I have really understood that by the time you're 40, half of the struggles you experience now, you've done multiple times over. You've done tenfold. So it's just getting through the feeling of the moment, getting through feeling like a failure. And really, when you're experiencing failure, that doesn't really make you a failure. It really just makes you human. Everyone messes up. Everyone trips and falls sometimes, but you gotta get up. It's about how you get up. It's about how you bounce back. Okay? The devil, whatever you want to call it, for me, I call it the devil, depression, anxiety, whatever is keeping you down, wants to see you fail. It wants to see you sit there and rot away. But I promise you, somebody out there wants to see you win. Shoot, you're watching my channel right now. I want to see you win. I want to see you make positive changes to be your better self. Struggle isn't new, but you can be. You can always change. You can always cleanse yourself. You can always work to be a different person. You can be the light that grows your garden. You can be the positivity. You can make the positivity. You know, I have a lot on my plate right now. I have my internship. I have school. I'm about to have my degree, thank God. But I have a lot on my plate, but I am hungry for seconds. And that's really what I want you to take away from this. I want you to be hungry for seconds. I want you to see struggle and feel so much resilience, feel so much motivation by whatever you believe in to face it. Okay? Face it like a lion in the den. Look it head on. Look your problems in the eyes and scream how you can be stronger. Laying down and dying, laying down and giving up is not what anybody wants from you. Not God, not your spirit, not your soul, not this earth. Nothing wants you to lay down in your struggle and die. You're not formed by your negative thoughts. You're not formed by your compulsion. You're not formed by your own negativity, and you're not formed by your problems. You're formed by the people that love you. You are made of love and stardust. I said that earlier, but genuinely I believe it. Everyone is a celestial being to a certain capacity. We're here. We're flying on a rock through space at millions of miles per hour. But on this flying giant rock with 7 billion people, you've even got one person that loves you. Don't take that for granted. Okay? Life is going to give you swift kicks in the gut. I can't tell you how many times life has surprised me. But I found beauty in the shock, beauty in the surprises, beauty in the things I didn't want to happen, but they benefited me because I was stronger after. My mother, my dear mother, I bring her up often on here, but my mother always tells me that it's a successful day if you learn something new, if you learn something new every day. And that can give you a new vitality for life. It can really help you wake up and smell the roses. So at the end of the day, this is my homework for you. At the end of the day, at your night when you're winding down, maybe you're listening to music, maybe you're charging your phone, maybe you're playing a mobile game, maybe you're playing video games, but at the very end of your night, think about anything you learned. Whether you learned a new recipe, whether you learned a new prayer, whether you learned a new scripture, any small thing that you learned, think about it. Turn it over in your mind and really process that you learned something, because that is a part of the human experience. We are all victims of capitalism. We're all victims of greed. We all hear that money doesn't buy happiness, but it could buy things that can motivate happiness. But no matter what, if you're still learning, if you're still breathing, if you've still got people that love you, if you've got clothes on your back, a roof over your head, a place to sleep, a car to drive, babe, that's your testimony. Do not take for granted what you have. When we see others struggling in war, struggling in battle, struggling with cancer, when you see all of that happening around you, you need to find the things to be grateful in your life, in your experience. Don't let depression keep you all the way down. Be the light that grows your garden. Let your tears water the plants that will be abundant into your future. But never lay down and die. Never lay down and let that stop you from being the best version of yourself. Okay? That's your homework. Learn something new every day. Try to like my video, subscribe, maybe hit the little bell so that you can get a notification when I post. Thank you for chatting with me. It's your girl Trin. This has been Tidbits with Trin, and I will see you next time.